As a prospective writer, I would urge you to not only read good books, read terrible books as well, because they can be more inspiring than the good books.
Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site where you can get plot synopsis and character bios. So, we're nearing this Alan Moore and Alan Davis run on Captain Britain. I have covered every part from the beginning. So these were 8-page backups that were printed in the late 80s. And they were reprinted twice in the United States, once in magazine forms, and then once in the Captain Britain Alan Moore trade paperback that came out. Alan Moore and Marvel have had a fallout, just like Alan Moore has pretty much had a fallout with everybody. Eccentric creators tend to be that way. That is my opinion. If yours may be different, that's okay. So we're going to do parts 17 and 18 today, and then next week we will wrap it up. There's a total of 4 parts left. So, as I said, I have a playlist, so feel free to check it out. So if you're not lost. So this chapter is called Anarchy in the U.S. Sorry, in the UK. And then here's our creators. So like I said, there were 8-page backups, and here we have Jasper, and look at this mess here. And so not for anybody. We start out with Alan Davis is doing both the penciling and inking. You hardly ever see Alan Davis do the inking. So Captain Britain speaks to Jasper. As you can see here, he's picking him up like a little insect, and says, Jaspers, if you're even remotely sane, you can't do this. And he says, I'm not, and I can. Now, here's the thing about insanity. If you're insane, you don't know it. So, he says he's not sane. Well, you don't know it's just doesn't work quite that way, but that's all right. And Cap Britain says, no, not to my country. I'll fight you with every breath in my... And then all of a sudden he pauses, body. And we got Jackdaw. And he says, Captain, you're awake. Thank the runes for that. So we're like back to the very beginning. Come on, muscle man. We've got to regroup before Jasper's attacks again. Jackdaw, but aren't you dead? What's happening here? No. Saturnine said you'd be like this. Try to remember what really happened. We're fighting the Jaspers. He uses reality warping powers on you and made you run around like an idiot shouting gibberish. You were out calling out names I'd never heard before. Betsy, War Dog. At one point you were talking to your parents, but they aren't dead, are they? It never happened, Captain. None of it. I've got to think. We were all drinking champagne and the ceiling started to shake. No time for shaking, Captain. They're here. And so you see Jasper's here. Chris Claremont reuses these people in Excalibur. The crazy gang with their marbled eyes and fractured smiles, the junkyard things with dead cars on its breath, and yet... So we go back up. And yet again. Jackdaw, when did I tell you that my parents were dead? Jackdaw, are you going to answer me? Okay, that, and then he touches it, and you can see here, it's like paper, and he rips it. And he goes, that tears it, and suddenly we're back to before Brian Braddock turned into Captain Britain. And here, Brian, oh my God, nurse, he's awake. And he's like, huh? What? But he can't possibly have. Oh, Brian, you're back. Oh God, I can't believe it. Oh my goodness, says the nurse. This is extraordinary. I'll go fetch the doctor at once, Mrs. Braddock. Mrs., She called you Mrs. Braddock? What else would she call me? She, oh, Brian, you do remember me, don't you, Courtney, your wife, Courtney Ross? She's used also in Excalibur. Oh no, this is what they call amnesia, isn't it? I thought you were better, but you're not. Look, I'm sorry, I don't. Mr. Braddock, you're awake. But he can't remember anything, Doctor. He called me by my maiden name. He probably doesn't remember the accident up at Darkmoor or anything. I see. I better administer a sedative. This won't hurt, Mr. Braddock. Wait, where am I? What was that about dark? And then dark. And then I love this. I love this little sequence here. Such great storytelling. This is from back, I think, in 1983. And look, just the blank with the eye. Just so good. Do go on, Captain. You can see he's still being held by Jaspers. You know, these videos, unfortunately, don't get as much playlist as I thought. But hopefully the next one, I do hope to cover Miracle Man next. So we'll see. A lot of people do like that Miracle Man run. So we'll see. I thought about doing Watchmen, but so many people, there's so many YouTube channels that have covered Watchmen. But we'll see if I can do something that nobody else has done with Watchmen, but it won't be yet. But definitely Miracle Man. So Jasper's looking at Captain Britain and says, "You were saying something about fighting with every last breath in your body, I believe. First-class sentiments, Captain, and I'm sure they were real." And he tosses him. "But nothing else is," says Jasper as he falls in the mud. Great great panel here showing him how hitting that face first. So cool. Everything else is much more interesting now, don't you think? Always moving, always changing. A change is as good as a rest, as the actress said to the bishop. So Captain Britain begins to get up here. You can see he's angry. He's about to hit him from behind. And then again, variety is the spice of life, and it'd be a dull old world if we were all the same. I'll tell you, Captain, is anything for a laugh? So, sorry, it's anything for a laugh, and if you didn't laugh, you'd cry. Cry, and you cry alone, Captain. Laugh, I thought I'd... And then Captain Britain hits him from behind. Die. Before I turn the page, I want to make a little commentary here. It's anything for a laugh. I don't think that's changed now. Everything now, instead of maybe saying it's anything is for a laugh, I thought very much of how we as a society record everything. Everything's for TikTok. Everything is for Twitter and things like that. Just everything now is about going viral. So, and look at this, just boom, and just how you can see the force of the hit as he knocks him back. That comic book language that is just so great. And Captain Britain says, "You're a blasphemy, Jaspers. You don't belong here. You're too monstrous to live." And from behind here, "Oh, come now, Captain. Isn't that what they call a straw man argument? Really, I think it's about time we sorted the wheat from the chaff, don't you think?" Look at this. What a great panel. Alan Davis, even early on, man, he's a great artist. And I love how he still does this with his panels. Instead of going straight, going diagonally, or, you know, kind of northeast to northwest. So, or southeast. Southeast, southwest. Something like that. So, all right. The Men from the Boys, The Naked. I think I missed this one. Sheep from the Goats. So, From the Dead. Great vertical panel here. We're down to our last part here. Dead. No, he's not dead yet. Every last breath in my body. That's what he said. Perhaps there's still a chance. The tides of battles could still turn after all. In a situation like this, You might never know what might turn up next, and suddenly we see the Fury here. Primary target located. Termination sequence commenced. Next, Fool's Mate. So, off to the next part. There is nothing graceful in the way it moves. It runs like a retarded child, a flailing engine of unhindered force, not designed to meet human standard of poise and beauty. But it is very fast and very strong. Real quick on the word retarded. Retardation is an actual word, and it just ended up becoming kind of like, oh, we don't say that anymore, because a lot of people used it to make fun of other people, and so they now, whenever you say retarded, people frown. But that is the actual word. If you look up the definition, that's an actual word. But as a society, they have kind of shunned it away. Like, you can't say a retarded child or a retarded person, even though technically it does fit the definition. But as a society, they now choose different words to say something, the same thing, but it sounds nicer, I guess. So, it is a beast of a singular purpose. Its purpose is to find, its purpose is to follow, and to catch. And here we have Captain Britain. And to kill. Really, it doesn't care what it looks like. I love the green. Color choice is very important in comic books to convey a message. So, you can see here the Fury as it pounces on Captain Britain again, the co-creators. So this would be a whole new issue because these were backup features. So Fury attacks Captain Britain, hitting him on the head again. This poor guy has to have a concussion. So he bleeds. No, look at this long neck. So, and here's Jasper's. Elsewhere, Cricket God reviews his paradise of ruins. He feels so angry that he wants to go to sleep, but seeing the humor in the situation, he weeps instead. And Captain Britain's thrown through the wall. He is lonely, but he's also God. And again. And he makes friends easily. So, looks like the crazy gang's coming back out. Hello, I'm Jim Jaspers. Jim Jaspers. Mad Jim Jaspers, actually. You can call me Mad. Ha ha ha. I made you. I made everything, actually. I made the sky, I made the tiger, and the lamb. I put the bop in the bop, she bop, and the ram in the rama lama ding dong. I made the stars, the cockroaches, the trees, the winkle picker shoe, and you can see Captain Britain is still getting his butt kicked by the Fury. And he looks here and then he goes, well, I don't remember making that. And he says, I say, you, Johnny Football Face, sorry to intrude, but I happen to be God in this neck of the woods. And, I say, have we met before? You see, I have the strangest sensation of deja vu. Do you ever get feelings like that? As the Fury kind of looks at him. And so the Fury goes, Jaspers, its creator had been a man named Jaspers, a man very like this man. He had created it to destroy every super being in its continuum except Jaspers himself. He had always found that vaguely... let me restart. It had always found that vaguely frustrating and irritation deep within its chip-encrusted cortex. Well, I'm waiting for an answer, says Jaspers. It wanted to kill Jaspers, but its programming said no. Of course, that Jaspers was dead. This was a different Jaspers. Oh, honestly, as you can see, it drops Captain Britain. An enzyme dribbles. A sine wave oscillates. It considers. Foreigners, I ask you. Oh, hello. What's this? Oh, what's this he's doing? Shake hands? You want to shake hands, great white god from over water? And boom, and you can see it. That's, I don't know why, but I find that actually quite funny. Very Looney Tunes cartoony. Oh, ow. Ugh. And you can see Jasper's. Now, I say, old nurse, that simply isn't shuttlecock, is it? And he hits the Fury, kind of turning into a dribble. A little silly, but that isn't shuttlecock at all. I don't know what that word means. I'm not even going to look it up. I'm just going to keep going here. A month ago, the transformation would have killed it. It had battled the parahumans known as the special executive since then. It has absorbed a computer the size of a cave. It learns, adapts, retaliates. And then the trouble starts. So now the Fury and Jaspers are going at it. And so Saturnine and Captain Britain are kind of looking concerned, like, what the heck is going on? So, and then of course we have Roma and Merlin, who are also utilized by Claremont during his Excalibur run. Merlin says, Roma, Father, what's happening? The game's disintegrating, but the multiverse depends upon the game. That's what you said. Is this the end, Father? You've lost, haven't you? We've all lost, says Roma. Love how Merlin's face is sort of covered by the hair and just the black here, all shaded. And she kind of pushes her father, is what I think she's doing. Answer me, she says. And then she's like, Merlin. And he's going a little crazy here, or like he's in some kind of trance. So next, Endgame. So we will stop and then we will conclude this next week. So to those of you that have been watching this, I hope you have enjoyed this so far. I sort of am, for completion's sake, have just kind of powered through this, even though not very many people have been watching these Captain Britain videos with Alan Moore, but maybe in the future some people will find it, because I just don't see a lot of this being covered. So hopefully we'll get it. So anyway, this is parts 17 and 18 of Alan Moore's Captain Britain run. So like and subscribe, and I do thank you for listening. Goodbye.